Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Bass University Live. Great to have you with us. I'm excited about today's show. It's going to be a lot of fun. Some people that are doing some things in the in the industry that I'm looking forward to talking to. We're talking about clubs today, which is really cool. It's how I got my starts. How a lot of you guys did. It's how this whole sport got started. And I was in Garden State Bassmasters way back when. Justin, back in the 1700s, and it was a great experience for me. Met my mentor through that experience, who helped me in fishing, I know a lot of people have changed and they're doing a lot of different things. People are going. There's so many tournament options these days, but we're seeing a resurgence in the clubs. One of which is Five Alive, and I'm psyched. You guys may recognize the Eco Bass Angler, Craig Duran. I call him CD, who's a member of Five Alive. Also, you happen to be the environmental director here at Bass University. Yes. So it's good to have you with us, man.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's great to have you with us. We've known each other forever
and ever.
He was my boss way back when in TTI Environmental, and But yeah, Five Alive. How about this? How many members do you guys have now?
Oh, it's 120, I think, 130, something like that. Yeah. We're going to have Tim on. The president's going to come on later. But a phenomenal job they do with their tournaments and the whole network and social activities that they put together. They really got everybody engaged. It's a lot of fun, a lot of events, and all the way up to their classic, which pays out well. But that's camaraderie. Awesome. It's fun. You know what I mean?
The camaraderie is I think we miss that a lot because we're all chasing those purses, those high dollar first place buddy tournament trails and all the other options you have, and you kind of get away from that a little bit, you know.
Right.
That's the club really
pay well.
Makes that fun.
Yeah, they pay well, and there's serious competition. There's a lot of good sticks in the club, and you have to really bring your A game, you know what I mean, to try to win one,
yourself included.
Yeah, right.
Congrats on the Delaware River win.
Thank you.
16 or just under 16 pounds on the river. That's hard. That's hard to do.
Right. It's kind of cool, that the club goes there that early. I in the years in the past, I've fished there for many years, and I never really would go out that early, start looking for fish, looking for fish in the Delaware in March. I'd rather, I was always on ponds or somewhere warmer, but it's really got me kind of focused to go find them a little bit earlier than I normally would. So that's been cool. You know what I mean? And tying that together. And,
well, it's a great win on a river that some can be really tough for some. Are you guys in a bass fishing club? Were you ever in a bass fishing club? What were the names of the clubs you were in? I was in Garden State Bassmasters, and then I switched over to Clearwater Bassmasters, where I met Rich Schneiderite, my mentor, who taught me so much about patterns and tournament fishing and how to win. And just want to thinking about him. He's going through some very, very difficult medical scenarios right now. So I'm thinking about him, and that's where, that was a lot of fun for me being in the clubs, going through that stuff. And Jake is now, I want to bring this up. It's a big deal. A proud dad. I don't know, you guys might have saw it on the Bass University social posts. But can we bring it up? There it is. There it is right there.
Right to the trigger peak.
I'm really upset though, because you cropped out the Crocs.
I didn't crop out the Crocs.
The pink Crocs.
They were automatically cropped out, but
that's my favorite part.
we got a shot with the Crocs. We got a lot of that. But that's
a big bass.
These bass are huge. This is Jake. For those of you guys that didn't hear, this is Jake Gluzik and his partner Max, and they won the Federation Nation. Well, actually, it's the Nation Youth High School tournament on Cranberry Lake this Saturday, and they had a massive 20.32 pound stringer on a lake here in New Jersey. Just absolutely amazing. So proud of them.
That's a really big bag for that lake.
It's
right. Like normally
huge.
14 pounds wins or that lake. Or
that's from
15
what we understand. It was, 14 to 16 pounds, is pretty big.
You text me, right? I text you. I said, "How's it going?" And you said, "I think you might have 20 pounds." And I was like, I kept reading it. I'm like, "Hey, really 20 pounds of Cranberry Lake?" I couldn't wait till you hit the scales.
It was insane. I watched it go down, guys. It was the nastiest day that you could imagine. It was rainy, spritzy, cold, 20-mile-an-hour winds with gusts. Just wearing every stitch of clothing that you owned just to stay warm, trying to keep your hands warm, the kids, so they could keep casting. And Max and Jake just battled like champs and just dug out. And as a matter of fact, they the first 2 hours of the event, they struggled, no fish, and I think their first fish came in at about 9:15, and then they just kept picking away, using a chatterbait and an Arashi glide. That was the moment. That was the moment for me. It's just incredible, Justin, because I was criticizing Jake. I'm like, they just put their limit fish in the boat, and they just caught 5 good ones on a chatterbait, and Jake decides to pick up the Arashi glide, and I'm like, Jake, I don't know. You guys are getting bit on the chatterbait. You might not want to pick that up.
Right.
Hey man, he was feeling it that day. I mean, come on. Jake put on a clinic, so did Max. And Pete, we kind of predicted this was going to happen on our phone call on the way to your practice there. And, I said, Jake, come on, 20 pounds. Let's go.
You said it. You called it, and that's exactly what he did. But I couldn't believe it. He picked up that glide, and he gets the one of the biggest fish of the day on that bait. So it was a thrill to be part of it.
It was neat. When I talked to you guys on the ride home, right? I said, Jake, how was the bite? And what was cool was it was like every half hour they were getting bit. It wasn't like they just lumped them up in one spot. Had a flurry. So I think that. Being around youth anglers and seeing kids develop as anglers like that, those kind of days, I think, are important because they have to work for it, right? They work all day. They got to stay, they got to stay grinding, right? You got to believe in what they're doing, working the water, getting a bite every half hour, putting a fish in the boat.
Right? And having success, it solidifies that okay, this is fishing. You got to get through those lulls.
Right. Right.
That's the lesson. You got to persist.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's tough, man. The 2 tournaments we've had this year for the kids have been really cold, and we're looking forward to the next one, Lake Assam, not Assunpink. We're going to Schwartzwood, which is a good lake, and we're going to be hitting it in a warmer, a month and a half from now. So we'll get some nice.
It's got a mix of fish.
Weather. Yeah, smallies and largemouth.
Yeah, kind of. I think it's natural lake. Glacial formed, kind of has that feel, a lot of good weed growth and rock, it's a nice body of water.
Yep. Yeah. It'll be good for the kids. And that was spectacular. Congratulations, boys. What wasn't spectacular was fantasy fishing this week. The Rapala fantasy fishing wasn't spectacular for me, but Justin, you did pretty good. I got to give you props.
Thanks, Pete. I told you it was just a matter of time before I took over the title there of leading the pack in my JT Tompkins pick, man.
That was the pick.
Ike showed out too. John Cox. What a lineup, man. I'm on fire. Come on.
I'll give it to you. That was good. I had been holding the lead through the Classic, and Justin snatched that lead away from me this time. I mean, I had 3 pretty good picks, but I had 2 picks that struggled. Matt Robertson was the one that I've been just watching him have so much success and catching fish when I didn't expect him to. And I just had a feeling. I was like, man, he's at the Harris chain. There's big fish around. I just had a feeling he was going to get it done. And he had one of his worst tournaments of the season this year. So, anyway, I lost my lead. Jocelyn, you had a very nice, a nice set of picks. Well done.
Second.
Yeah.
I'm proud of myself.
That's very good.
I'm only 613 points behind Justin.
How about John Garrett though, going wire to wire on Harris for his first Elite Series win? Man, these rookies are something else. They're just all sitting in the top 10 pretty much every event between Tyler, Kyle, JT, and Trey. I mean, what a rookie class that we got here.
I know it was impressive, and I was watching him idle in. I don't know if you guys saw that, but he was talking about going to Lake Griffin and laying up where he felt like he could catch 10 to 12 pounds a day and have a good finish, and versus going to where he did, which was one of the obscure lakes on the Harris chain that I've not really heard guys doing well out of there before. Can't remember the name of it just now, but it's one of the smaller lakes in the chain. And he just after the cancellation day, he just decided that, I'm not going to fish that way. I'm not going to lay up. I'm not going to be conservative. I'm just going to go into the unknown. Had some quality bites, and wound up just absolutely dominating the tournament. And it was neat. Did you see him winging that hair jig around?
Yeah, love to see it.
That was
what was he doing? Like a 6XD too, or was it?
Yeah,
that's cool.
Like a 6
big crank. I don't know if that was a big crank for sure. And then when that bite would fizzle on him, he did that at least on day 4. I didn't get to watch as much as I like to watch, but I saw him doing that, that Tennessee River ledge fishing stuff with the big, the flying chicken hair jig, and that was awesome. That one, he got a 7-pounder on that on day 4, which he was struggling, and then to catch that fish, just locking it up for him.
That's neat.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Jocelyn, what are we giving away today for
Cortland line?
Cortland line.
Yeah, we have a couple things. Cortland line, the silent flip, and master braid, and some Rapala and Crush City products.
Crush City, master braid, Rapala. Sounds like a good giveaway today.
Going to be a great giveaway. So if you're watching over there on social, like and share the feed, and we got a prize for you. And pay attention, because we are going to have a trivia question. The Dan Allen Memorial Award.
Memorial. Dan Allen is alive and well. It's not a memorial, but shout out Dan Allen. Yeah. And
shout out to Jacob Wheeler for winning yet again over at the MLF.
That's unfair.
It's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. You just don't, how can he just keep just dominating. Pounding it and just dominating? Just always in the conversation, every single tournament, and getting another W, man. That's just fantastic, tremendous stuff. Fishing Dale Hollow, which was a really cool fishery, famous smallmouth fishery in Tennessee, but it's not fished very much because it has a slot limit, and you're not allowed to keep fish on that lake.
That where the world record smallmouth is from?
I think so. One time it was. Does it still have it? I don't know.
Trivia question.
Yeah. But
that's a good one.
Yeah, but it's renowned smallmouth fishing. They were catching smallmouth and largemouth, fishing a lot of springtime patterns, full of fish. Man, it's fun tournament to watch too. So congratulations to Jacob.
Connell and Wheeler might win every single BPT event this year.
DQ thinks so. Our own Dan Quinn thinks so. He's like, he doesn't see any reason why these guys aren't going to win every tournament, and it looks like it's going to be that way. Their mastery of forward-facing sonar is just off the charts. They're at a different level. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We have a special guest who you all will recognize coming on here in just a minute. So we got to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back after this.
Welcome to Minnow King. How can I help you?
Everything looks good. I'm friggin' starving, man. Been spawning all morning.
Ugh, TMI, bro. What do you want?
I'll take a Crush City freeloader and gizzard shad.
Anything to drink?
Water.
Pull ahead, please. Welcome to Minnow King.
We're gonna have what he's having. Yeah, throw me in a Ned BLT, too.
Pull ahead, please.
Calm down. Quit feeding him so much.
Hey, man, I'm trying to, man. If you overfeed him, he's gonna hide under a log. Right here, AquaView, mandatory equipment in my boat. I say it all the time. The smallmouths hide in the cracks in the rocks, and just saw a little bit of the same kind of rock with the cracks in it. And I realized that I had to put a bait down there. You wouldn't, idle over them and see them on your screen. You had to put a bait down there and suck them out of the rock. So, AquaView, big assist on this one.
And outdoors Bassmaster Classic champion, Jeff Guthrie.
Why do you love casting fishing rods?
I'm truly losing less fish.
Is the sensitivity of the rod.
That they're made right here in North Carolina in the USA.
Strongest, lightest rod, 100% made here in Sanford, North Carolina. From the drop shot rod to the flipping stick. Every rod has a purpose to it, and I rely on them all the time when I'm out there in a tournament.
Durability in the John Cruz Worming series, the counterbalancing in the handle.
It's the only rod I found that can withstand my hook set. Boom goes the dynamite.
On the water, not spent fishing, is a moment wasted. That's why Minn Kota and Humminbird have joined forces to bring you the One Boat Network. Products that communicate and integrate to help you take full command of your boat. Born from our commitment to making the most advanced fishing gear even better by making it work together. The One Boat Network will help you find, get to, stay on, and catch more fish. When One Boat Network products talk to each other, they can navigate your boat automatically. They can give you a crystal clear view of what's below with no messy wires. And they can let you lower, raise, and change shallow water anchor modes from anywhere on the boat. But that's just the beginning. We're never done innovating, integrating, and making your boat simpler and easier to control. All so you can make every second on the water count.
Welcome back, guys. We are filming right now. Riz is not with us today. You're sitting in Riz's seat. Riz is out on the water filming with Gray Buck on the upper Chesapeake right now. Looking forward. That will all be brought to Bass University TV shortly. We've had some fantastic releases, and everybody has commented to me about them, and I appreciate that. We've got a lot more coming, Justin.
Yep, we got this week we're releasing Buddy Gross. This seminar is pretty much about offshore hotspots, Carolina rigging, mapping, finding those hotspots, transitions and stuff like that. And
I want to comment on that because I was watching the guys talk, like Tyler Williams.
Yeah.
They spent the entire practice looking for those spots. Yep. And Buddy tells you how his system on finding. He's famous for his offshore prowess on Lake Chickamauga in the Tennessee River. But that's how these guys are practicing now, Justin.
Yep. Just idling around.
It's all sonar work. They make their first casts when the tournament goes live.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But if you're a Chickamauga guy, man, Buddy shows some spots on the lake there and breaks all that down for you. And we're also releasing Brock Mosley. It's a chatterbait seminar, just going in depth on his setup, how he fishes a chatterbait, his selection, all that type of stuff. And he uses a little bit different gear than some. And he's got like a sneaky new chatterbait that's out. He mentions the jackhammer. He throws that a lot, but he's got this. He worked with this company and created this other type of chatterbait that is pretty unique. So I'm going to have to pick some up and try them out, but that's what we got this week. And obviously Gray Buck, like Pete said, we got some breaking down marinas, another chatterbait seminar and fishing pre-spawn, all that type of stuff coming to Bass U.
Awesome stuff. Keep us posted on what you like and what you would like to see. And we have a special guest, friend of the show. We've been on his show and love having him on our show. Mr. Smallmouth Crush, Travis Manson. Good to have you with us, man.
Good to be here, guys.
Man, I can't believe you're here, dude. It's like I'm hearing about nothing but 6-pounders being caught up in New York State right now.
There is some good ones. I went out this morning. I don't know if I had any at 6. I didn't put them on the scale. I had a bunch of heavy fish. They were probably pretty close, that 5.5, 5 3/4 size.
We got an inside tip here from Craig that Cayuga is off the charts right now. They're catching some giant largemouth, believe it or not, which we thought we'd get those big smallie reports that we usually get this time of year. But the big heads are being caught up there. Imagine that's everywhere in New York right now.
Pretty much this time of year. It started off kind of unseasonably warm for a while, and then we're kind of normal temps now. You know, it gets into the 30s still at night. I think it might get up in the 50s today. So we're a little ways away. I thought we'd be a little further along this spring, but they're coming, you know.
That's awesome. Now you were catching, I guess, smallmouth, but are they shallow? Like I've been on Champlain in the pre-spawn, and they get like up on the bank, the big pre-spawners. Is that what happens up there at Thousand Islands too?
It certainly can. So today, for instance, this morning, I went to a particular area and I was able to find a bunch of fish that were, you know, in that 4 to 6 foot of water. And I was able to catch them just, you know, sight fishing and seeing them. But then at the end, right before I got on this show here, I was out right before I came in, and I drifted over a fairly deep hump that was, you know, 40, 50 foot deep. And I caught a good one there. So they're really in. And then yesterday I had some fish in 2 feet of water. So I'm going to say they're between 2 and 50 feet of water. Really. They're everywhere.
That's awesome. Well, now that my son likes to fish, we're going to plan some of these pre-spawn trips. The one question what are the rules up there on when you can fish and when you can't? Because I honestly, I want to schedule a couple weekends to come up and just crack them.
So these two counties, St. Lawrence and Jefferson County, I'm basically right at the mouth of the St. Lawrence River and Lake Ontario. And so you have 100+ miles to the Messina Dam. On the U.S. side, our waters close on November 30th, and they don't open until the 3rd week in June on the U.S. Waters, which is a huge playing field. South of here, so basically, if you look at a map of Lake Ontario, right where the Salmon River enters, it's in a town called Pulaski. Pretty much anywhere south, and then as far west as you want to go on Lake Ontario, I guess all the way and then some to the Niagara River, that is open for catch and release year round. So it's really these two counties. Now, Canada has a special regulations where they allow you to fish basically year round, except from May 10th through, I think it's going to be the first Saturday in July. So we get to take advantage of the pre-spawn smallmouth, but we have to be in Canadian waters in order to do that.
Okay. But Canada closes it May 10th?
May 10th, Canada closes, and you won't be able to fish Canadian waters until the first Saturday in July.
Okay. What about the other New York lakes like Champlain and the Finger Lakes?
Those
do they have similar rules?
Nope. I believe those are open year round. Probably some catch and release, but you can target bass in anywhere else in the state and really anywhere else in the country. That's one of my frustrations with this area. And I went to up here, they're called DEC. Some places call them DNRs, you know, the fishery management.
Sure.
They had a meeting, I would say about a month ago. And there was a lot of talk about perhaps changing the season or what they should do for this fishery. And I kind of spoke up and mentioned my frustration was they're deciding whether or not to keep a catch and release season, but maybe change the dates, but still have a closed season. And I simply just asked, it frustrates me because everywhere else on the Great Lakes or really anywhere in the country, you're allowed to fish year round. And I was just wondering why that conversation isn't on, being had. There's a lot of people that want to be able to fish year round. Fine, let's do catch and release for a certain period of time, but let's not close just these 2 counties here for basically 6 months out of the year.
That's a long season
time,
to
right?
be closed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why just those 2 counties? Do you know the purpose behind that?
I don't know. I really don't.
You're gonna have to like hire a lawyer to come with you in your boat for all these season changes.
It is very interesting. Yes.
Yeah. It sounds like you have it down, but
yeah. Well, we need to get to their pocketbook, Travis. How much money are they leaving on the table by eliminating, the traveling angler?
The sad thing is, from an angler standpoint, the townships and the communities around here, they don't tend to really want to cater to anglers as much as maybe the tourists and the people that are coming up to rent cabins on the river for a week and things like that. So that's just my opinion. I just don't think there's a huge emphasis on fishermen and anglers.
Well, I know in New York that fishing is still one of the primary tourism draws, right? Like it's a huge, between the Finger Lakes and the Great Lakes and
it has
CSR and everything. I mean, there's just a tremendous amount of activity that revolves around recreational fishing and.
Well, yeah, I mean,
events,
you see they're dumping money into the tournaments. They're trying to bring all the Bassmasters there.
Well, the wildlife management, the state budget, there's a lot of money that goes into New York fisheries because
yes,
of
and there has
and the warm water species. There's a there's a big focus.
And there has definitely been some townships that have stepped up, some communities. Messina just built a huge facility for tournaments. The only issue there is, the whole system is full of fish, but I prefer to kind of fish this Lake Ontario and the mouth area versus 100 miles the opposite direction. So even though it's the same body of water, it's really an inconvenience for a lot of anglers because we have to leave here from where we've been practicing, drive the 2 hours to the ramp. Then we get in our bass boats in the morning and hope the weather's good and make another 2-hour drive in our bass boats back up to here, head back 2 hours to the weigh-in, and then drive 2 hours back home. So it's a long day when we have those tournaments on the Messina.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, I want to switch gears. We started talking about Cayuga Lake, and we have a mutual friend, a group of friends that make some of the best braided line right there on the southern end or near the southern end of Cayuga, Cortland Fishing Line. We're going to be giving some away with our prize packs today, but I've been using the line in a variety of applications, and I know you do too. And let's talk about that. What are the lines? What do you like to use on your techniques? I know you're a smallmouth guy. Everybody knows that. But from a spinning rod application, are you an 8, 10, 15-pound guy or high vis? What are your preferences?
So I shouldn't say most, all of my spinning rods, and I have about 45 combos, and they're all going to be in that finesse, I guess, scenario. I would say 80% have 5-pound Cortland Master braid as the main line. And
5 pound, no kidding.
I do prefer the smallest, thinnest, lightest diameter line that I can find. And so all my reels are spooled up with 5-pound braid.
Wow. That blows my mind. Like I'm 10-pound. I'm using most of the time, and I'm actually scaling up to the 15 a lot because its castability is just phenomenal for such a strong line. But I'm often not fishing the way you're fishing. Like I'm in the shallow, dirty water when I'm using it mostly.
Sure.
But that's 5 pound. That's amazing. I need to play around with that. I haven't used that yet.
So when I was fishing the Chesapeake and use a spinning rod a lot, I would certainly go to like a 10-pound braid for those applications for largemouth. Now that I really am focusing a lot more on smallmouth, that lighter diameter, that light braid, I feel, especially these light finesse baits, are going to give me a little bit more accuracy, just accuracy with the cast as well as distance. And I also feel like the resistance in the water, because a lot of times we're fishing deep and we need to drop a bait straight down to them. I just feel like that 5 pound gets my weight down a lot quicker. And it's something you have to get used to it, right? It's different, right? Because we've all 10, 15, 20 pound braid for our main lines. There is a little bit of learning curve, but not too much. I mean, as far as performance, wind knots, things like that, we just don't see it with that 5 pound braid. And I should say this, I use 2 colors. I use a chartreuse and then I use the white. And the reason for that, anything that I'm dragging on the bottom, I'm always going to have a fluorocarbon leader. And so I like the chartreuse because I'm able to see it better, detect bites, see where my line is. But if I'm swimming something through the water column, and I know you could get away with chartreuse, right? You could get away with a brighter color. I just prefer white. I think from a standpoint of a fish on the bottom, if they are looking up, I think it would blend in with the sky, with the outline in the water. So if I'm throwing a finesse swim bait or an underspin or a spy bait or anything like that, that's going to be moved through the water column, that's when I'll just switch over. I'll have all those rods would be straight white braid. But if I'm drop shotting, casting a Ned, dragging a tube, it's going to be the yellow.
The fluorescent yellow, you mean, or
yep,
chartreuse?
Well, the bright yellow, yeah,
the bright yellow. Yeah, yep. You threw me off there. I'm like, wait a minute, there's a chartreuse color that I'm not aware of. Yep.
You know, as an angler, we call everything.
That's what we got right here. We got the high vis yellow. This is what you're talking about. Yep. Mm-hmm. That's pretty. That light diameter, man. That's got to be to be able to cut through that deep water. That's got to be a big advantage. I was thinking of dropping down to the 8 pound.
That's right.
And now you've got me interested in the 5.
Yeah, that's where I am. I'm with the 8.
Yeah,
majority of my time I'm with 8.
Listen, 5, 8, 10. I mean, it's going to get the job done. It's just day in and day out. I'm on the water so much. I just want to make sure everything's dialed in. Now, if I'm using a spinning rod and say I'm going to drag like a 1/2 ounce football head jig, I will bump it up to 15 or even 20. I do a lot of steelhead fishing as well, and I'll bump up that 15, 20 pounds. So there's certain situations where I will definitely throw that heavier braid. But for the most part, if I'm throwing the finesse technique, it's going to be that 5 pound braid. And then I pair it up with probably an 8 pound fluorocarbon leader, maybe 5 to 8 foot long leader on all my rods.
Wow, that's a shorter leader than I thought you were going to say. But I want to. You're probably aware of this, but I was shocked to see what Koyo Fujita is using as far as his leader length goes. We've seen him go down to like less than 2 feet a lot of times with his leader material.
Like 10 inches. Like
it's nothing. Did you see him doing that?
I did not see that, but I'll give you a little secret here. A lot of times when you're throwing, say, a small swim bait, doesn't weigh much, and you have a longer rod, I'm going to throw down like a 7-10 medium light rod. If that knot is in the spool on your cast, we've all heard it go through the guides. I'm sure we've all made a cast with a spinning rod that had braid to a fluorocarbon leader, and that weak spot after multiple casts, all of a sudden your bait just flies out and you have to retie. I try to go super short where that knot isn't going through all the guides on my cast. And that helps with accuracy as well as just the integrity of that knot as well.
Yeah, I agree. I like it too when I'm working with the kids, because that knot can make your casts go awry, if it's in the eye. So that short leader makes it a little bit easier for them to work with. But I was amazed, because he's in clear water using forward facing sonar, pinging a minnow, and using the bare minimum leader length, and horsing them in. I mean, those guys at times, I think they're using 14-pound test leader to trigger those strikes. It's counterintuitive to me, it's in that clear water,
Yes, I feel, man, how can we there's so many different theories, right? Or opinions on this. I think it's very rare that a fish is not going to bite your bait because of the line diameter or the fact that it sees it. I mean, we all can see the line, right? Even fluorocarbon, how they say it, disappears underwater. I don't know. I see it underwater all the time. So I don't know the whole theory on that. I do know if you go lighter on your leader material, I feel like it might give that bait a little bit more action. So I think that's what's helping your bites versus that fish actually noticing the difference between 4 and 8 pound line attached to your bait for the most part.
Yep. Well, I agree. I think you're right, and it's fascinating to watch. I love your color choices on and your strategy between the high vis and using that white to blend into the sky. That's a really good strategy. I like that a lot. If you guys haven't tried the Master Braid, guys, go over to your member benefits and take advantage of it. You're going to be very, very happy with the performance of this braided line. I use it on my spinning rods a lot, but we also do a lot of flipping and pitching and frogging with the heavier Master Braids. So, go check it out. I think you're going to be real happy with it.
25% off.
Oh, you get
that was creepy.
That was creepy. You get 25% off there, guys. So definitely go check that out. And man, I appreciate you hanging out with us. What are you going to be? Are you up and running with trips right now, Travis, or when do you get started?
Well, we'll say the first official trip is going to be April 20th, so it's this Saturday, and I'm basically booked until the season closes May 10th. Then I'll get a little bit of a break until I think it's June 15th, somewhere around there, where the U.S. site opens up. And basically, we'll be guiding July, August, September, October into November. And I'm about half booked. I try to do about 115 trips a year. I'm probably at the 50. I think there's about 50 trips on the books right now. But the later season, that October, November, I could definitely look into book some trips there. It's great fishing. It's just we don't get as much enthusiasm, in November for some reason. It's amazing. We have to deal with the weather sometimes, but it can be some of the best fishing. Really, this pre-spawn period right now, I shouldn't say that. There's not a bad time to come up here and fish, but the pre-spawn, they get really stacked in areas. It's not uncommon to catch 100+ fish in a 100-yard stretch during that, that outing. In the summer months, yes, we may have to jump around a little bit. We may be going shallow, maybe going deep. But then once the fall comes around, in certain parts of this lake, there will be a migration of bait fish and perch into some of the bays, and that's going to draw a huge number of fall bass that are going to set up. But then there's always going to be those summer fish that are still going to be hanging out where they were in the summer well into November. It's interesting. There's little ecosystems in every certain part of this river and lake. You pick one of the big islands out there on Lake Ontario, that's those fish's home. Like that's where they live year round. So there's not a migration, come the fall or come the spring. It's just, this is where the fish live. And we just don't, there's a few exceptions to that rule. Certain bays do get piled up because of the bait fish that move in. But for the most part, I can catch a bass on the same spot I've caught them in April, July, and again in November. They'll be there.
Wow.
Pete,
yeah, it's kind of cool.
What do you think?
We're getting lobbied here,
right?
To get up to do a Bass University trip up there.
Yeah,
well,
for sure.
Yeah, we're definitely going to do it. We need your report because I know you're going up to Cayuga this weekend.
I'm going to try to head up Saturday night. Yeah, my son lives in Auburn, so I'm going to jump in with him. He fishes a lot up that way, and go. I went up and did some hardwater fishing too. I was, for the first couple of times in my life, I've tried it for the last couple of years. When I'm just mice fishing, you know, just to mix it up, do something different. That was a lot of fun. I did notice there was a lot of like people into the yellow perch fishery. Like there's the whole society of people that are going out catching a bunch of yellow perch and eating them. You know,
they love it.
Them. Yeah,
they love it.
I think there's like 50 or 60 boats I saw on my way out today that were perch fishing.
Yellow perch. Yeah.
Yeah. So St. Lawrence County, I believe, has no limit on perch. You can keep as many as you want. So, and they're big. There's a lot of jumbo perch. It's really a fascinating fishery. I know we talked a little bit about some of the other line that Cortland makes. I know they make a silent flip. And speaking of that, the largemouth fishing up here is excellent as well. If you're into punching, thick vegetation to working a topwater frog, I mean, you can go out and get 40, 50 blow-ups a day if you're in the right area, because these largemouth just are not really getting targeted. Or if, deep grass, things like that, flipping a jig, there's just a lot of opportunities. Now, you're not going to catch, I would say a 5-pound largemouth is going to be a pretty big fish for up here, but you're going to get a lot of those 3 and 4 pounders throughout the day as well. And you'll also catch a bunch of bonus smallmouth. I mean, there's numerous times we're fishing for largemouth, just strictly trying to do something different, and these pesky smallmouth are around, and vice versa. We're this time of year, some of these bays that we're fishing for those smallmouth, the largemouth are spawning in there or wanting to, and it could be every other cast could be a largemouth or a smallmouth. You just never know. So it's truly a world-class fishery that we have.
Sold.
Let's go.
We're coming. Well, we're going to be up there. Of course, we're going to be out of Messina. We're the Bass U group is jumping in that Toyota series up there.
Gotcha. Yeah,
out of Messina. So we look forward to that. What is that? August, Justin? Or
yeah, it's August.
Okay. So yeah, I'm going to try to catch fish in Messina, Travis. I'm
okay. Like, they're there. I'm
like you're talking about, man. That hour-and-a-half boat ride down to the lake is more than I want to take on, but
I had a great time in Messina last year.
Yeah.
There's definitely good fishing throughout the whole system. It's my best advice for someone that's coming up here is put it in your time. And here's a good example. So about 2 years ago, I found a boulder that was in about 8 feet of water, and it was probably July or August, and there wasn't any fish in that zone next to that boulder, but I put it in my GPS, and this morning I was in the area. I looked down, I saw boulder written on my graph. I went to it, and that's where a bunch of these spring giant smallmouth were set up on. So whenever you run across anything, specifically a boulder, you got to mark them, because at some point in the year there's going to be some fish on that. And I know it can be frustrating when guys come up here and a guy like me that can pick a section of the lake and know, okay, I got 20 boulders out here that I can just run to in the course of the day. To find all those, it takes, my goal really every year is maybe to find 5 or 6 new key pieces of structure. I mean, that's it. If I can find 5 or 6 new ones, I'm happy. And that's all you have to do. And over the course of a few years, you're going to start getting those marks in those places. Same thing goes with when you're up here fishing in the summer and you're doing your drifts in the river, going over areas with your baits. A lot of times, even with forward facing sonar in the river, it's hard to see these fish. They're tight to the bottom at times. It's such uneven bottom. Sometimes we got steep breaks and drops that these fish really hide. And the key is to just spend some time, make a drift over an area and see if you get some bites. And if you do, mark it. And then next thing you know, you're going to have 10 or 15 of these areas in your arsenal. That's all I do now. Whether it be a guide trip or a tournament, I look at the weather the night before. I say, okay, it's going to blow out of the north at 15. That leaves me this section of the lake. Even if I'm on a good bite, I learned my lesson so many times. If I'm on a good bite and that wind is going to make it too brutal to fish, I don't care anymore. I'm going to say, what area can I comfortably fish and make it happen? And then I'm going to go run all those areas that I've have from the past. I no longer really care about how practice went because it's just certainly can change due to wind, obviously.
Yeah. Fishing the conditions. What you said too is, and it's interesting to see this going on. Tyler Williams from Maine. That's how he learned how to fish, exactly what you're talking about. That's the similar type of habitat that you're fishing every day up at Thousand Islands, where you're looking for an isolated rock, you're looking for outcropping and offshore type of stuff. And he's applying this out on the elites right now to tremendous success, spending, all he does during practice. And we talked about it in the beginning part of the show. He just idles and he looks for that type of habitat and makes his first casts during the tournament, which is fascinating. But Travis, thanks so much, man. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you hanging out with us a little bit. Good luck this season, man. We'll be following on social, seeing all those giants, and wish you the best luck, man. I appreciate it. It's always good having you on.
Sounds good, guys. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot.
Pete, is the lake off limits for that Toyota?
It is off limits for the Toyota. Right. Yeah, they're because we're in Messina, an hour and a half away. They'll give us a map of the barrier that it was drawn right across the mouth of the St. Lawrence River from the United States all the way up to Kingston in Canada.
Well, I'm going to do the same thing I did last year if that's the case. Just drag Travis's jig around and get 5 bites.
There you go. You did well. You had a top 5 finish?
Third.
That's pretty amazing. Let's take a quick commercial break, and we're gonna come back. We're gonna dive. Tim Daffick is going to be here with us, he is the president of Five Alive Bassmasters, and we're going to talk about club fishing and why that club is so successful. How they're doing it. They're having so much fun doing it, and we're going to talk about how, we're starting to see a surge of it around the country. So we'll be right back after this.
Welcome to Minnow King. How can I help you?
Everything looks good. I'm friggin' starving, man. Been spawning all morning.
Ugh, TMI, bro. What do you want?
I'll take a Crush City freeloader and gizzard shad.
Anything to drink?
Water.
Pull ahead, please. Welcome to Minnow King.
We're gonna have what he's having. Yeah, throw me in a Ned BLT, too.
Pull ahead, please.
Calm down. Quit feeding him so much.
Oh, yeah, man, I'm trying to, man.
If you overfeed him, he's going to hide under a log.
Right here, Aquaview, mandatory equipment in my boat. I say it all the time. The smallmouths hide in the cracks in the rocks, and just saw a little bit of the same kind of rock with the cracks in it. And I realized that I had to put a bait down there. You wouldn't, idle over them and see them on your screen. You had to put a bait down there and suck them out of the rock. So, Aquaview, big assist on this one.
And outdoors Bassmaster Classic champion, Jeff.
Why do you love casting fishing rods?
I'm truly losing less fish.
Is the sensitivity of the rod.
That they're made right here in North Carolina in the USA.
Strongest, lightest rod, 100% made here in Sanford, North Carolina. From the drop shot rod to the flipping stick. Every rod has a purpose to it, and I rely on them all the time when I'm out doing a tournament.
Durability in the John Cruz Worming series, the counterbalancing in the handle.
It's the only rod I found that can withstand my hook set. Boom goes the dynamite.
On the water, not spent fishing, is a moment wasted. That's why Minn Kota and Humminbird have joined forces to bring you the One Boat Network. Products that communicate and integrate to help you take full command of your boat. born from our commitment to making the most advanced fishing gear even better by making it work together. The One Boat Network will help you find, get to, stay on, and catch more fish. When One Boat Network products talk to each other, they can navigate your boat automatically. They can give you a crystal clear view of what's below with no messy wires. And they can let you lower, raise, and change shallow water anchor modes from anywhere on the boat. But that's just the beginning. We're never done innovating, integrating, and making your boat simpler and easier to control. All so you can make every second on the water count.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. That was great. We're in the break. We're talking about Travis's comments about the 5-pound braided line, 5-pound test, which is awesome because I know Fred Rumbanis, who fishes with Master Braid as well, was really pressing me. He's like, man, you got to go to the 8. You won't believe its strength and its castability, and because I'm stuck with 10. You know, that's really my threshold that I'm comfortable with. And Fred was pushing me to the 8 now. Mm-hmm. Travis is pushing me to the 5.
Yeah.
How low are we going to go? I don't know.
Right.
But it's fast. I could definitely see its ability to cut through the water, especially in the deep water, like that ultra thin diameter.
Yeah.
Is going to, especially when you have the current like that 6 mile, I don't know if it's 6 mile an hour, maybe 2 or 3 mile an hour current on Thousand Islands. It's trying to bow your line. Yeah. It's trying to do a lot of things to your bait. So having that super thin line is,
and you can get the distance too. There's a lot of times you need that distance, and
that 5 pound, you ought to be able to cast to the moon.
Right, another county. Yeah.
I mean, there's no friction. It's just phew, it's gonna go. But
sure.
Jocelyn loves the noises that we make, but yeah, as fishermen we got a lot of good noises. We were making some noises, like even when we were talking about the when we were fishing with Jake, the fish, the noises the fish were making. You said those kids were going crazy.
Yeah,
that fish came up and it was koosh koosh koosh.
Yeah,
the 5. You know what is interesting that we didn't talk about, Justin? I don't know if I talked to you about this on the fish that Jake and Max won with. They were feeding on bullhead cats. Is that the right term?
Yep.
Bullheads.
Really?
Yeah. The catfish, the big fish they had like a 12-inch
is that right?
cat with the tail sticking out of his mouth, and one of the other big fish had it too.
Really?
And the bullheads
like
were
the
in there.
Wow.
in that mossy, boggy area,
around feeding.
They were feeding on something.
Yeah.
Was it a pickerel spawn that we're feeding on the eggs? Was it a perch spawn? But something was in there causing them cats to come in there and rummage around for food.
You see that in the bay a lot, right?
You see it in the bay a lot.
They're eating those
see it in the bay a lot.
Yeah.
The big fish like those cats.
Yeah, they do.
They're an easy meal,
Huh.
But
that's pretty cool.
We're I wanted to talk about, and we're going to bring Tim on here. Let me know when he's available for us. I started fishing in a club. How many of you guys did too? I found it to be one of the most rewarding experiences that in my fishing career. One of the things that was so impactful for me and everybody that's been involved in that club format is the exchange of ideas. Mm-hmm. The learning that takes place in that assembly of anglers in a club is far above anything else.
Yeah, you're always amazed how somebody gets it done, right? That day, right? You
Yeah.
know, like you could have a bad day and like
Yep.
somebody just crushes them.
Yep.
Right. Or you'll see that 2 or 3 people crush them so many different ways.
Mhm.
It's like having 3 patterns, right, that are competing with each other for that day. It's got, it's
and you
pretty
get
cool.
access to it.
Yeah, and you get access to it. You know, it's like make your decision. You know, but
Yeah,
that is an amazing part of it. You know, with the club.
Yeah,
for
like
sure.
like you caught 16 pounds. Well, of course you lie, but other guys would tell you straight. And like, how'd you catch him? What'd you catch him on?
Right.
Ed Cowan in your club is always awesome. Like he's always such a straight shooter.
Yeah.
You know, and you're able to, as a co-angler or as a new angler, or angler's been doing a long time but gets lost on certain bodies of water.
Yeah.
You know, you can get access to that information,
especially as a co-angler, man. You can learn. I've learned so much over the years from fishing in multiple clubs with, you know, some of the best guys on the Upper Chesapeake, and you know, I've learned the stuff that they, you know, one guy's super good with the jig. He'll whoop your butt one day with it, and you're just learning behind him how he fishes that jig. Another guy's super good with the Nico rig. You know, you just pick one thing from each guy that they're super good at and apply it to you, and then you're good at a bunch of different things.
How do club tournaments work? Do you get to pick your partner, or
no?
are you randomly selected?
It's usually random. You just get a random co-angler from the club, and the co-anglers face the co-anglers, and the boaters face the boaters.
And every club's different. Every club has a different system.
You can pair up.
You can.
Yeah, you can. Like Dale fishes with me a lot. You know, when his wife lets him. Dale, I know you're listening.
Ed's watching.
Awesome. What's up, Ed? Ed is Ed was great. He was our captain several times on our New Jersey nation state team, and we did this in the clubs, but I saw Ed do this as the team captain.
Yeah,
we were fishing. The one that I remember was Lake George. I know you're going to remember that, Ed. We were fishing smallies in 90 to 100 feet of water, and we were fishing super deep with jigging spoons. And a lot of guys had never done that before.
Right.
A lot of guys weren't comfortable with that, and Ed smartly paired the co-anglers and the boaters together that needed the experience. Like, you may have had a co-angler that was used to fishing deep, and he put him in the boat with one of the boaters that is a shallow guy, didn't know how to do that, and vice versa. So we had guys all getting exposed to that technique at practice. And as a result, we just went out and absolutely crushed that tournament.
Yeah.
And
it's fun to compete against Ed, in the club. He's always bringing it.
Yeah.
He was second on the Delaware big bag. I mean? And great Delaware bag he had, but he's always bringing it. He's always laying it out. Just
bringing the trash talk.
He likes to talk it up. But you're right. He tells exactly how he did it. He loves to talk about that. He's very giving of that information. He's very competitive. It's fun to be around. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, he's a super talented angler, and has had a lot of success at a lot of different levels. And we talk about further comment on what you said, Justin. I had the luxury of being a co-angler, practicing with Rich Schneiderate. And it was one of the most amazing lessons that happened to me as a non-boater, which we called ourselves then. Was Rich and I would go out and practice a day wherever it was, and he might have a miserable day, like hardly catch anything, maybe 1 or 2 bites. And then we would go into the tournament, and most often, a lot of times, he would win, or have a high finish. And the rides home, the rides home from that, digesting what happened. Like, how did you turn a miserable practice into a winning event? Learning how, eliminate what practice did was eliminated a lot of water. It eliminated a lot of techniques, and it forces you to try things that you didn't try at practice. And it leads you, if you let it, it'll lead you to the winning pattern and to be open to that. Most oftentimes what guys will do is they'll go out and compete. They'll practice and they'll go out and compete in the tournament in the same areas that they practiced in.
Right. And not expand on it.
And it's hard to do.
Sure.
Right. It's easy to say. You got to fish the moment.
If it works here, where else is it working? Kind of a thing. Funny story about Schneiderite and Ed. I worked with Schneiderite. Well, fish wasn't as much as you did, but I remember fishing a buddy with him, and he was like, "Hey, man, just put a boat. Let's put a fish in the boat an hour. Kind of like kept you engaged."
Mm-hmm.
And another thing he always used to say to me was, "Never make a cast that you don't believe in. Don't ever make a cast."
That's interesting.
And I carry that with me today.
Yeah.
Like every cast I make, I believe in. I believe that if fish is going to bite it. I'm not making a cast to,
I like
and
that.
chew my sandwich or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or look around. I make a cast. Every cast. How many casts are you making a day, right? 10,000 casts or whatever in tournament. And the funny thing about Ed and Rich was, and I'm pretty sure, and Ed will probably chime in, that Ed actually adjusted his style of fishing because of Schneiderite. He said that Schneiderite would come in with a limit all the time on an NJ Bass circuit, right? And it forced Ed to start looking for bigger fish. So Ed would try to catch 3 or 4 or 5. If he caught 5, he would beat Schneiderite. He could beat Schneiderite sometimes with 4 fish. Because Ed started, flipping and punching and going shallow and looking for big ones. And Rich would always come in with a limit because Rich was a little bit more of a finesse fisherman even back then,
Yep.
So those two had a connection. Kind of like, the Impala owes its speed to the cheetah,
right.
So I think kind of Ed morphed into who he is because of trying to
that competition it drove them forward. Yeah, that's interesting because there's a couple of things. Knowing Rich intimately and how he fishes, Rich had a power finesse approach to his fishing, and that was what allowed him to be so consistent with catching limits. But
I carry that with me today. I mean, you know what I mean? That influenced me for sure.
Yep. Yeah. He would use his finesse shaky head, which he was using that all the time, and then he'd get his big fish with the crankbait, and that's what he would do consistently. Ed was always with the jig. We know Ed always with the big giant heavy jig, just powering up and doing that. But it's funny you say that about what and I want you to say that phrase again, because I have a phrase that I use with a cast. I tell people never be satisfied with a substandard cast.
Right.
Like if your cast misses the mark by even a little bit, do not work it back to the boat.
Right. Redo
it.
Yeah. So you never make a cast you don't believe in.
Don't make a cast you don't believe in. Yeah. You got to be invested in every moment of that cast.
And you're going to have Tim on in a minute and fishing with the club. One of the things that Tim brings, he was Angler of the Year last year, right? Is in the club. And one of the things he brings to the table is that he fishes the entire day.
Yeah.
The entire day with enthusiasm. And that's not easy to do, right?
It isn't, because
1:30, 2 o'clock, you're tired, you're beat up, you don't have anything in the boat, but you can still win the derby, right?
It's very, Yep. And it's very hard for me because I'm getting older and I'm grumpy and everything hurts.
Right.
It's hard to It's hard to stay positive.
I try to work on that physicality, right? Mental and physical aspect of that. It sounds silly, but if you can take it all the way to the end of the day, you know what I mean, and believe in every cast to the end of the day, you're just upping your percentages.
Well, here's the man that believes in every cast to the end of the day. the president, the big cheese at arguably one of the most successful bass clubs in the country, certainly in our region.
El Presidente,
Mr. Tim Daffick. How are you, man?
Good. How's it going, guys? Pleasure to be on with you.
Man, I appreciate you. I know you're working. Took a few moments to come and join us. Appreciate it. But I wanted, we dove in. You probably heard us talking a little bit about how, our experiences have been in clubs. I started out in a club. I love the experience. Man, you've created something really special with this Five Alive, and you got to feel really proud about that.
It is. It's something we take a lot of pride in, me and the guys that started it. we're always thinking about what we could do to be better. We're never content with where we're at. And I think that's what makes us a little bit of who we are. A lot of clubs and a lot of people I've seen over the years, they'll get used to what they like or destinations they may like, and it'll get repetitive. And we're always just kind of analyzing things. There's, every day I'm just thinking about how can we be better? Same thing with fishing. You're always trying to get better, and we take that to the club level. A couple of years ago, we kind of peaked. We've been basically in the 120 to 130 member range the last three or 4 years, and we kind of peaked. And I saw things like kind of head in the other direction. And the big thing was when you get to that level and you start losing all the small bodies of water that we used to be able to fish. How do we keep people interested that can't go to the Potomac, that can't go to Lake Champlain? And we started our local Legends Trail. This will be the third season with it. And not only did it retain a lot of the guys that were starting to exit, but it also brought in a whole nother level of people that were interested and that really just fit what they wanted to do in a club, And we don't want to. Why give people a reason to go fish with someone else when they could stay with us or just we try to be the only thing out there. We don't want to make you think about, hey, what club should I join? We kind of try to offer something to everybody and also try to keep people engaged throughout the entire season. That's another big thing that we do. Whether it's top rider for the year going to the Classic, we have a wild card event at the end of the year, and there's just little tweaks we make to the point system and make to what we do that you don't fish 2 events and write us off for the year and go fish somewhere else. And kind of want to keep you engaged throughout the entire season. So.
Yeah, so there's 2 trails basically. The local Legends is the newer trail that Tim's talking about.
Yeah,
and
that's like a small boat trolling motor kind of tournament.
It's electric motor mostly, right? But you can fish any boat with it.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. There's no restrictions on what boat you use, but all the tournaments are within basically. We're out of Jackson, but everything's basically within a half hour, 40 minutes of where we're located. They're all electric only lakes, so it really caters to the guys that can't travel, may not have a bigger boat. But it still gives them a super competitive trail, and the top guy gets a berth in our Classic at the end of the year. So, it gives them that character chase, just like the guys that are fishing the main circuit.
That's cool.
It's cool. It's a lot of engagement.
Yep.
It's a lot of engagement, and a lot of those guys are going to be guys that, hey, maybe they want to stay with a smaller boat and they enjoy that, or maybe they're working their way up and they want to get a glass boat eventually and go to the Potomac with us and stuff like that. But it's a great engagement,
I know it drew you right in.
I love it.
It drew Ed Cowan in. Many guys they were like, we just want to fish.
Yeah.
And you created an environment that everybody likes to be part of. And that's hard to do because when you get 100 men together, then nobody can agree on anything, Tim. How in the world are you pulling that off?
Krista, Mama is helping him.
It's not easy, but the thing is I feel like one of the things we got going for us now is you kind of got over that hump. Like when you have 30, 40 guys in a club, which a lot of clubs have grown to that level, and then a lot of times they'll recede from that point. And if you have 30 guys and 3 people want to go a different way or don't like something, now you're talking 10% of the club. And if they get a few more buddies, now it's 20% of the club, and guys are kind of going different directions. But, like I said, we put a lot of thought into it. We think about what everybody, wants to do, what's best for the club. And, we try to put the best product forward for everybody and not what's best for a handful of guys. Sure, we get 8 or 10 guys that they'd love to travel for every tournament and be at destinations and whatever, but we know that doesn't work best, for the club as a whole. And it's really great. You guys were talking about Ed and you got all different levels of people. You got guys that fish the Bassmaster Classic, fishing the club. You got guys now that are coming from fishing BFLs back to fishing at the club level. And then, got guys that are just fresh out of high school, coming out of the junior circuits and signing up at a young age and learning. And there's, like you guys had just mentioned, there's a ton of experience. Everybody's an open book for the most part at the weigh in. Guys like Ed and myself, like, we'll tell you exactly what we're doing, exactly what we caught them on. And every day is different. And you're trying to help these young guys and give them experience and let them learn. But at the same time, we're all still little kids out there, and it's super competitive. You know, Ed, myself, like Ed's been doing this for 50 years and he wants to win as much as the next guy. And that's what makes it great. And, you know, we've able to create something where you don't have to go fish a bigger circuit and you could still have that super competitive aspect. And, you know, with what we do with the Classic at the end of the year, it gives everybody a goal and something to focus on throughout the season.
How are you drawing, like you're competing against BFLs, you know, nation tournament trails and TBFs. And you're people are more interested in being part of what you're doing. How are you able to do that? What's your strategy on just finding, you know, having something more attractive than what all these seemingly big dollar events are going on all around you?
Well, the funny thing I always say, and people, you know, I get asked all the time, how come you don't fish BFLs? How come you don't do this? How come you don't do that? And I did a little bit of everything before I really got involved with the club and really pushed it to the next level. And it's like, you know, when you fish any bigger circuit, you're always feeding somebody else. Every circuit, you know, the entry fees are higher, but are the payouts really any higher? A lot of BFLs and stuff, you're only paying out 60, 65%. And what we do with the club is, whether it's to our Classic or whether it's to other events we do through the year, everything that we make through the year is going back into the club. It's going back to the guys that support us all year. So, you know, we do fish a lot. We have a ton of events between our regular schedule and our local edges. And then pretty much any time we have a chance, we're throwing open buddy tournaments. But that money that's earned is all going back into the club. And you know, we've created a family. We're all, you know, some of my best friends are throughout the club, and we call it a fishing family. We, you know, during the off season, a bunch of the couples will go out to eat. We're hanging out. We do a huge Christmas party. It's a giant success. Almost the whole club comes to every year. And we even started doing like a family day event. We're probably on like 6 or 7 years now with that. And we fish half a day. The wives come out, the kids come out. We fish a tournament at Manasquan. We have a big barbecue afterwards. So we just, you know, kind of, even though it is super competitive, we've added a whole like family aspect to the club.
So the money stays in the club, right?
Right.
You're not paying an agency.
It's not a for-profit model.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And so, you know, it stays within it, you know, and it's motivating. And, you know, Tim works extremely hard. Him and his, you know, the people on the board always over these open events and tournaments every weekend. I mean, every weekend.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. The dedication. And when I met Tim, I heard about him, and when I had dinner with him one time in a tournament, I was surprised how busy you are, Tim, and everything. I mean, his work and his other, you know, side jobs and in the tournament trail. He's busier than 4 people that can normally. You know, I don't know how he does it, and at a young age. So, hats off to you on that, Tim. You know, you do a great job.
You got to have good leadership, and that's you, and that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
The what I loved about the club, and you don't see it like as much on the team tournament trails or the BFLs even, is that camaraderie, you know, that happens in a club. It's just different. It's more fun, you know. It's I don't know how to describe it, or, you know, if you haven't experienced it before, but there's something special. Just, you know, like you said, it's your friends in the club, but you're busting Ed Cowan's chops, you know what I mean, and vice versa. You get to mix it up with a classic qualifier, and
right.
There's that camaraderie side of things that is just not anywhere else but in a club, Tim.
I've also met some really good young anglers, you know, Frank and Dale, you know, become friends with them, you know, more just socially, you know, but I've picked up a lot of, you know, aspects of the way they fish and the way they approach fishing, you know, so it's kind of like modernized me a little bit, you know what I mean? It's kind of neat, you know, being around different generations of people, you know, and seeing their approach. It's pretty cool.
No, it really is, and bringing that fun aspect to the tournaments, like you're saying, you know, you fish federation and you get off the water from practice, and at the end of the day, guys go to the room, they go to bed, and you don't get that social aspect of it. You know, we're going to Potomac in a couple weeks, and people like, I'll go down for 3 days before, like, oh, you're going down to practice. It's just not about practice. It's a vacation. It's a great time. We go down for 5 days, and we're out there in the parking lot playing cornhole till 11, 12 o'clock at night, sometimes later. And, we're just out there having a good old time. You get everyone together. You're BSing with the guys. You're talking all that trash to Ed Cowan and whoever it may be, but that's what makes it all great. The camaraderie that comes from it. And it's not just about, it's not 100% business, but we are all super competitive. We all want to win, but we get off the water and we're sitting there having beers together, having a good old time, afterwards, which is what I think makes it great,
Yeah.
I agree. And as a younger person, it's a great place. I mean, there's a lot of high school and college programs going on out there that the kids can take advantage of. But man, this is great for a younger person to be able to get in the boat with somebody that's got 20 years experience, to get out and maybe mix it up, getting Ed Cowan's boat for a day, for crying out loud.
Exactly.
What an amazing opportunity that exists right there at your club level. Justin, that's what you were fortunate enough to experience.
Yeah, that's what I did. I mean, I was 13, 14, 15 years old, fishing as a co-angler in some of the local clubs around here. And I learned from, like I said, some of the best guys on the Upper Chesapeake. And, and then eventually I joined some youth clubs and stuff. But everything that I learned from those older guys, I just carried it over, and it helped me win a lot of the youth stuff. So it's a valuable tool.
Yeah. What advice guys want to expand their club, or, what advice might you have for some guys in other parts of the country that, want to take a different path, and start to do something like you guys are doing? What advice would you give them?
So that's a tough question. I mean, the biggest thing is, you want to be open. You really got to have a good pulse of what guys want to do, not just a select few. You have to keep it affordable. You have to keep the travel to as minimal as you can, and try to still get to, good destinations. But I think, the biggest thing that for us that sprung it, was the classic. And you gave everybody that carrot to chase all year. We give out $10,000, every year at the classic. We pay for everybody. There's zero entry fee. You're everything's paid for. We get we rent the house for the guys, and we give that for everybody to chase after. And then from there, it's also not just that. It's just keeping the guys that all year, just giving, whether it's, we added a top rider, we added a local legends, we added a wild card event at the end of the year. And it's just little tweaks to everything that just keep people engaged throughout the whole season. Cause you'll have guys that say, hey, it's a good idea to join a club, and they'll fish 1-2 events right away. They're out of the points. It's freezing the first event. They blanked, and, they just lose interest. So doing things like that. And then the other thing that I found over the years, which I think a lot of clubs do wrong, is they make things mandatory. They make things harder than they need to be. I've had guys that come to our January meeting. They'll sign up for the club. I won't see them the entire year. They'll come to the Christmas party, and they'll be like, hey, Tim, I just want to thank you because you made it so easy to be a member. You don't have to come to meetings. You don't have to go to this. You don't have to belong to, we don't tell you have to do anything. We put a ton of stuff out there for you. We put 2 trails, we put parties, we put social gatherings. We put that all out there. We make it all available to you, but you're able to take with it what you want. You can make the club whatever you want it to be. So, you can not fish all year and come to the Christmas party and have a great time there, but we don't make it where you have to do things. And I've seen a lot of guys, you have to sign up by this date, or, you have to come to this many meetings. And it's like, well, why? Because I'm going to push this guy to, okay, you didn't make the sign up meeting. Now you're not a member of the club. Now you join another club. And with club fishing, whether you join our club or any club, those people immediately become your brothers. They become your family, and that's your first club. You don't ever want to go anywhere else. So we want everyone to make us their first club, and, never give them a reason to leave. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. They give you either reasons to not come or reasons to leave because they make things mandatory when it doesn't need to be. At the end of the day, it's fishing, it's a club, and we're out there to have a good time. We're not out there to tell you, put rules. I mean, everybody's got school rules in their school and work and everywhere else in the world. Why do they have to have it when they, come and want to do something fun,
Yeah.
He also has
That's
attracted
great.
a lot of good sponsors to the club. Tim puts out cool sweatshirts and sun shirts and stuff. You know what I mean? It's got a sharp image to it. You know what I mean? So the whole package feels right. The classics usually somewhere a lot of us haven't been. You know what I mean? So that was cool. Where we were at the Screw Lake last year. That was a lot of fun. Adirondack type lake.
Yeah. Well, that's what. Let me read what Ed wrote. The Club Classic is one of the best paying events in the Northeast. We all stay together. The club pays for the accommodations, and everyone gets paid. It's quite. That's a great comment from a guy that's fished the Classic, fished all around in a bunch of different stuff, just really raving about what you're doing with the Classic.
Yeah.
So we're at Bass U. We're proud to be part of you guys, and it's an awesome it's an awesome club, and we like I said, we're proud to be part of it. And I just I wonder where the clubs are going. I hear some clubs expanding. I think it's such a fun way to consume this sport that's not all about trying to be an elite angler or taking it to the MLF. It's about guys just enjoying it, the love of the sport, the camaraderie,
Right.
and it's why we all got started fishing in the first place. But I applaud you, Tim. Thank you for taking a minute and talking to us. And if Guy wants to join up to Five Alive, how do they do it?
So the easiest way is just contacting me right on social media. We're big on social media. We're all over Instagram and Facebook, and that's really the easiest way to contact us. But Ed's great with that, a lot of that stuff. I always consider myself a numbers guy, but Ed he tells me all the time. We go to Candlewood every year in the spring, and we have our mega bucks there, and these other clubs go up there. They have the Kirchhoff. They have Reynolds was just up there, and these guys are having 75 boat tournaments, and all the local heavy hitters are out there. And Ed goes, none of these guys realize the highest paying tournament every year in the spring on Candlewood is actually the Five Alive Mega Bucks. He said, because you're not splitting the money. Those are all buddy tournaments. He goes, you're winning $33,000, $3,200 at a Five Alive Mega Bucks. He goes, ain't none of those tournaments are paying $6,000, $7,000 for first place. He goes, so all those guys, he goes, we're actually having the biggest paying event, when you think about it, because it's a solo event. You're not splitting the money down the middle. So hearing his perspective on things, a guy that's probably fished everything under the sun, knowing that we're putting together the best product is really, really a great stamp of approval,
Sure enough, man. It sure is.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, what do you think about this guy to my left here winning the Delaware River with almost a 16-pound bag? I mean, that was, how'd you let him get away with that?
That was incredible, and I'm glad. I'm glad you called him a liar because he was maybe 200 yards away from me. So I don't even want to. I didn't even ask him because I figured I was going to get a lie. But no, every time we go out there, Craig.
We were staring at each other for a little
Craig's
while.
the guy to beat yeah. Craig is definitely the guy to beat when you go out to the river. But I mean, you've been out there the last few years, and just to see the bags that have been coming in, I think our open, not this past fall, the year before, we saw a 20-pound bag and the following week 2 18-pound bags.
Right.
So just
in
to
November,
see what the river's starting to put out has been incredible.
You're doing a great job highlighting the river. You know what I mean? And those November tournaments are just amazing to see the bags that are coming in.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy. We've never seen bags that big on the river.
No, and it's not just the winning weight either anymore. Because, years ago, you'd get that one guy that would get 12 pounds, but then second was 8 pounds, even in the fall. And now, we're getting 10, 12 boats coming in with over 12 pounds. It's just really incredible.
It's definitely changed. It's definitely
and we're thrilled because we live right on the river. So it's a lot of fun, and my son's getting into fishing now, and I even promised Justin some trips out on the river. So and Jocelyn too. So it's great. Yeah, it's great to have that fishing so good. I wanted to ask you, what's on the schedule this year, man? What are you excited about? Are there any new bodies of water, or what do you think is going to be your best tournaments this year?
So the favorite ones are always the travel ones. Like I said, that brings in the camaraderie. So we're going back to Potomac in a few weeks. It's been 3 years since we've been there, that's our big spring trip. And then we got Champlain in the summer, where most of us go up there for a whole week, and that's another really good time. We do, like you said, new body of water. So every year we do try to add something new. So this year, Beltsville in PA, we're going to. That's our last points event of the season. We've never been there. I think I'd say 98% of the club's never been there. It's relatively close. We're going there, I think, after the boat traffic dies down, so we're not going to deal with the chaos that I hear they get there in the summer. So that's our new body of water. And then one of the other things, so we are going to Saratoga for the Classic, which is our second trip there. But that's one of the other things we always try to do with our Classic. We try to make it somewhere that nobody has an inside track or inside edge. And, we make it real. We pay for the house. Everybody has 2 official days of practice. And pretty much we try to send everybody up there on a completely level playing field for that last event of the season. So, yeah, the big travel ones, that's what we all basically look forward to, getting away and having a good time with the guys.
Heck yeah. Well, last I saw you, we were on the banks of Lake Assunpink, and Jake went out and had a real tough tournament, and he didn't fish well. He fished well. They just didn't catch a fish. They didn't weigh a scoreable fish in that tournament. But I don't know if you heard the news yesterday. He sacked up 20 pounds on Cranberry Lake. Him and his partner Max in their second tournament of the season.
I saw that. That's absolutely incredible. So hats off to Jake and Max. That's an incredible bag, especially to do at their age. In our state, it's not an easy task to come across 20 pounds. I mean, I've been doing this 20 plus years now, and I've only weighed 20 pounds in New Jersey, just, a handful of times. It's not an easy task whatsoever. So.
No kidding. Yeah, I'm real proud of them. And like I said, it's tough. The tough conditions we saw at Assunpink, it was tough at Cranberry, but the kids are battling it out. And I appreciated talking to you and trying to give Jake some pointers for Assunpink Lake. That was great. And I appreciate what you're doing at 5 Alive. And it was great for having you on the show. I'm sure I'll bump into you out on the Delaware River sometime pretty soon.
Yeah. Yep, it's been a pleasure. Hopefully we'll see you at the Opens in the fall.
Oh, yes. I would. Maybe me and Jake will jump in some of those Opens.
Yeah,
that'd be fun. That'd be fun. Well, thanks again, Tim Daffick, 5 Alive Bassmasters. Thanks, Tim. Thanks for being with us. Appreciate you. And we'll catch up with you real soon, guys. We're gonna be giving away some prizes. Don't forget, we got a social media like and share contest going on. So like and share the feed, and we have a trivia question. Right,
I'm putting it in the chat right now.
Do
you want to know what it is, Pete?
I do.
All right. Grand prize question. What was Max and Jake, aka Baby Dean Glusak's, winning weight in the New Jersey tournament this weekend? I need exact pound and ounces. We mentioned it, so you can check the chat and see who gets it correct. We got a couple close so far, but we need pounds and ounces for Baby Dean and Max's winning weight. So.
That's funny.
Is that a new name that's just got?
I love that.
I make up a lot of random
that
stuff.
Probably because Justin's name is Baby Beetle.
I think that's going to stick.
Oh man, I don't know if Jake's going to like it or not, but it is catchy.
Pete, are you checking the chat? I want to make sure you.
I was just going to give you the verbally. No, I'm out. I ran out of power. Anybody get it yet? 20, 21, 22, 20, 21.3, 21.8. Not yet.
Not yet. Nope.
Very close.
But no cigar.
Very, very close. Not yet.
Right.
Baby Dean.
Baby Dean. Oh, man. James Riley, there's your new logo that you need to start working on.
So if you guys aren't a subscriber to Bass U, we got a couple good deals going on right now. We got the spring slaying promo. So you know, we got 30% off annuals, and you get a $75 Tackle Direct gift card with an annual subscription. So it's a pretty good deal to get
Who
signed
approved
up
this? I'm just kidding.
and get
Nothing.
get into the program for a year, access all the member benefits, 25% off Cortland line, other discounts that we're not even allowed to mention on air. And yeah, and you can take a 30-day free trial if you just want to try it out and get over and win a couple prizes on the chat board over here. But like and share winner, Jocelyn, you want to do that?
I do.
I think I see the winning weight.
Is that the
on?
I don't see it.
Nope.
Nope. Give out the like and share.
I'm going.
And then I am going to assign the winner if they don't get the actual number, because somebody got real close.
I'll just say in our chat board on BashU.tv, you guys are going a little bit too heavy. So that's the that's the hint you're getting.
And here's the other hint.
Too heavy.
Here's the other hint. The weight is tenths and hundredths of pounds. So
if you say, for example, this is not the weight, but if you say 18.3, we'll give it to you because nobody is getting it right now.
Didn't you comment?
Who won?
Somewhere?
Who was our like?
I think Dan Allen just got it.
Oh man, he sure did. I'm like rooting against Dan Allen. How could I be doing that?
Had too much time to go back and listen to the beginning of the podcast.
He must have gone back and listened.
So Dan Allen got it.
Dan Allen got it, and Mr. Higgs, I was about to give it to you. Wait a minute, let me double check, because you had 21.3. That was heavy. It was 20.32 pounds. And Dan Allen got it, man. Good job, Dan. Well done.
My task is I need a little bit more effort from, Nick and Howie and Andrew in here. I mean, somebody's got to give Dan Allen a run for his money here. This man has a Tackle Warehouse, Tackle Direct shop of stuff he's won on BashU, but that just shows you the value of being a BashU member. He wins tons of stuff over on the chat board over here.
There you go, Dan.
With it.
That's awesome, man. We love having you with us.
Maybe one day we won't call it a memorial. Maybe it'll be like an awakening, or you're alive.
Yep.
We gave Dan. You guys gave Dan too much time. He got to do his research, and
he got it
back. Like he just pasted all of his notes from the show.
20.32 pounds.
Yeah, man.
What a bag.
From the baby Dean.
From the baby Dean.
Our like and share winner is Derek Taylor.
Derek. Thanks for liking and sharing. Thanks, Justin. Thanks, Jocelyn. Thank you, CD.
Yeah, it's good to see you, man.
Hanging out with us.
Always good to see you.
Congratulations on your Delaware.
Thank you.
Your lowly 15 pounds.
Start of the season, man. It's just a start.
Yeah, that was great. It was a great win. Thanks, Tim Daffick, for being with us, guys. We'll see you next Tuesday on Bash University Live. Have a great day, everybody.